Welcome to Science Access. In today's class, I'll be introducing you to calculation in volumetric analysis, what in your exam they normally do as titration. Now, this is actually a practical course, but I'll just teach you the calculation aspect of this of the course. Then later on, I'll introduce you to the practical aspect, but this is strictly based on theoretical calculations. All right. Now, let's take this question. 25 milliliter of HCl is titrated with 0.1 mole of sodium hydroxide. It takes 30.25 milliliter of sodium hydroxide to reach the endpoint. Now, usually you use practical to get what? The endpoint, all right? Find the concentration of this. Now, the formula, if you know you have not watched my video on stoichiometry, it's very good that you watch it before you attend to this one, but you can easily understand it, how to calculate it with the formula I want to give you now. Now, the common formula is actually Ca Va all over Cb Vb. Now, we now have Na all over Nb. Now, note that what is Ca? Ca actually means what? Concentration of acid or of the acid in mole per dm³. What is Cb? Cb means concentration of the base in mole per dm³. What is Va? Va is actually the volume of acid, usually in liter. All right. Now, why Vb is actually what? The volume of the base, usually in what? In liter. All right. Now, what is Na? This is actually the mole, number of mole of acid. Number of mole of acid. Usually you get it from the equation why Nb is the number of mole of base, number of mole of base. Now, the first thing you do when they give you this kind of question is simple. Carry out the or write out the what chemical reaction between the acid and the base. So I'll do it. If HCl react aqueous, react with what? Sodium hydroxide. You have salt and what? Water. Okay. Definitely this will now combine with this. You now have what? Then you have what? H2O as water. Now note, the mole ratio we are talking about, 1 mole of this react with 1 mole of this, simply means that Na is actually 1, Nb is what? 1. Now, what about the concentration of acid? You said you should find the what? Concentration of acid. So you are looking for this. You are looking for Ca. Take note of this. Now, what the next thing? Concentration of the base. Now, 0.1 mole of this. So base is actually what? 0.1. All right. Volume of acid in liter. Now, if you take a look at this one is actually in milliliter, right? So you convert your milliliter to what? Liter. And how will you do that? Just divide by what? 1,000. So if you divide this by 1,000, just shift the point 3 places. So you can just divide. Okay, this is actually for the base, all right? So this is for the acid, all right? I just have to look at the question again. So this is for the acid and this is for the base. So for the acid, divide this 25 by 1,000. What will you get? You get 0.025. If you multiply it by 1,000, you also actually you get by your 25. Okay, now for this, also divide by what? 1,000. You have 0.03025. Okay, Now you realize that we have everything apart from this. So you can now do your calculation. So let's do our calculation. Let's use the formula CA VA all over CB VB. Remember, all the parameters here, we have highlighted all of them, okay? NA and what? N what? B. So just put your figures into the formula. You have your answer. What is CA? We don't know. Times what is VA? 0.025. What is CB? Here, 0.1 times what is VB? You have it here, 0.03025. Now, from the equation, realize that one, I told you that you get this from the ratio, the equation, actually more ratio, all right? So one of this reacts with one of this. So this is one, this is one. So you now have 1 all over 1. So this times this times this. This times this. You have 0, because you have to cross multiply. Please take note of that. You have to what? Cross multiply. So if you want to cross multiply, you use this to multiply this, use this to multiply this. You have 0.025 CA. Now, this times this times this, you have 0.1 times 0.03025. So you can now use your calculator. Now, before I use your calculator, just put CA. You can now divide this side by 0.025. So you now have CA. This A have to be under. CA is actually equal to 0.1 times 0.03025 all over 0.025. Now, what is the value of your CA? You can now use your calculator to do that. 0.1 times 0.03025 divide 0.025. Answer is equals to 0.121 mole per dm what? Q. So this is the answer. It's a very straightforward stuff. I'll have to solve another question in the part 2 of this. A question is actually being displayed on the board, and in the part 2, I'll solve a more challenging question, and that will be it for the calculation aspect. Thank you for watching.